shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
A little bit of light precipitation for this morning. As we get through the day, it'll pick up in intensity. We'll show you when you need to have your raincoat.
Plus, a man is expected in court today after 2 women and a dog were killed in Apex. What we know about the shooting and how the town is responding.
And a little snow didn't stop the Buffalo Bills from taking home a win last night. We check in their game against the Steelers, also the Buccaneers and Eagles game, a rare Monday double dip in the NFL playoff world. Who is moving on? We'll tell you how the state of Pennsylvania fared yesterday with 2 teams in it. I'm Jeff Hogan. It's good to have you with us.
And I'm Renee Chu. I'm sure the Northeast and Midwest would love to dump some of that snow and give it to us. And I know some people around here would love to have some too. You'd have to go to the North Carolina mountains to see some snow. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner just got back from there.
Oh, there was definitely some there yesterday. That's a long story for another time. But there's definitely some rain and some wintry precipitation in the mountains. We do have a little bit of precipitation heading our way. So we'll move from the big picture to the smaller picture. It's very, very light, but you can see the pink shaded area. That's where there could be just a little light glazing of freezing rain. It's not going to affect the roads. It's not going to affect power outages, but there just could be a little bit of that this morning in our northern counties, especially Person County. That may be the only place that sees it. We'll roll through Futurecast starting at about 4:30 this morning right now and push that forward. And you can see mainly it's rain. The pink really ends up into Virginia and not in our viewing area. But in Roxborough, don't be surprised if you see maybe a little sleet pellet or 2 or a little bit of freezing rain. You can see as we head through the morning, it's just very light and patchy. We see the band moving through right around lunchtime. So if you had plans to be out running errands or heading to a meeting at lunchtime, just keep your rain gear handy. By the time we get to 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it moves on out. We may even see a little bit of sunshine right toward the end of the day. We'll have our eye on Roxborough this morning where it is cloudy, but nothing is falling right now. And the Triangle, it's 38. So we're going to be way too warm for any of that. But it is 30 in Roxborough and 32 in South Hill. So those are the spots that we'll have our eye on this morning. 41 in Fayetteville, 38 Goldsboro, 37 in Southern Pines. It'll be a cloudy day. Again, we're looking at showers this morning. It'll pick up a little bit during the afternoon and just kind of be with us for much of the day. And our temperatures will only be in the upper 40s. That is just the beginning of the cold that we're going to see this week. I'll show you some pretty extreme wind chills for us coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Today, this man, Harry Hardman, is expected in court after 2 women and a dog were shot and killed in Apex yesterday. WRAL's Laura Levine is following the story for us this morning, joins us live from Apex. Laura, what else are we learning about the shooting?
Renee, here in this Apex neighborhood this morning, there is a sense of calmness after a very chaotic day here. The investigation lasted through the night when we saw officers and investigators still on the scene. This morning, we do know that the man police believe is responsible for the shootings, Harry Hardman, is in jail. Take a look at this video where you can see police arrested Hardman as officers took him into custody from the scene. He is accused of shooting and killing 2 women and a dog in this Apex neighborhood. Investigators spent hours at Chipping Drive and Brussels Drive where that shooting took place here just down the road from where we're standing. A neighbor who knew one of the victims became uneasy after hearing gunshots from inside her home.
I was very concerned when I saw the police at her residence. I could see it from my back window.
Hardman now faces 2 counts of murder, 1 count of animal cruelty. His first court appearance is at 1:30 today. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Apex.
Tonight is expected to be a lengthy city council meeting as more than 200 people have signed up to speak about the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Both pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli protesters are signed up to speak for one side or the other. And WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us now this morning to break down what the speakers want to accomplish out of all this. Kelsey.
Jeff, protesters are expected to come here later tonight to City Hall to get their voices heard. So pro-Palestinian protesters are coming here for 2 things. Rather, they're asking for City Council to sign a resolution that would do 2 things, calling for an end to the fight in Gaza, and then they're also asking for the U.S. to stop sending money to the Israel military. And if you look at this video here, you can see that protesters were at previous city council meetings, some accusing the council of being complicit to death and destruction in Gaza.
every single second you are not calling for a ceasefire and an immediate end to funding Israel is every second that I might lose my mother, my father, my siblings, and my house.
After hours of public comment, Raleigh Mayor Marianne Baldwin says she and her fellow council members were shaken. She says the council will continue to listen, considering both sides.
I've heard from members of our Jewish community who do not feel safe. They feel left out. They feel like their voices aren't heard. And what I'm really concerned about is that this is kind of tearing apart our community.
Mayor Baldwin says that the council has talked about a resolution several times, but they just haven't been able to come to an agreement on whether to pass one or what exactly that resolution should say. Either way, she says she believes that whatever actions they take, it wouldn't have an impact on the federal government's decisions. Tonight's meeting is scheduled for 7 o'clock. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Donald Trump has his first win of the 2024 presidential race. Trump's landslide win in the Iowa caucus is sending a strong message about his firm grip on the Republican Party's nomination. He easily outpaced Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who finished a distant second place, edging out Nikki Haley. The result is putting new pressure on DeSantis and Haley ahead of next week's New Hampshire primary as they jockey for position behind Trump. Speaking after his decisive Iowa win, Trump says he hopes Americans will come together in 2024.
It would be so nice if we could come together and straighten out the world and straighten out the problems and straighten out all of the death and destruction that we're witnessing. That's practically never been like this.
Initial reports indicate voter turnout was low as Iowa's in the middle of a bitter cold spell.
Breaking news this morning, Vivek Ramaswamy is ending his Republican bid after those results in Iowa, and he is endorsing former President Trump. Ramaswamy finished a distant fourth behind Trump, DeSantis, and Haley. He said he called Trump to congratulate him on his victory, and he will attend a rally in support of Trump in New Hampshire today. Coming up on Today, breaking down the results and looking ahead to New Hampshire, Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker offers insight, and Steve Kornacki goes in-depth into the numbers. Today airs at 7 here on WRAL.
Tens of millions of people across the country are dealing with frigid cold, icy roads, and high winds. The severe winter weather is making it dangerous for people to be outside. At least 10 deaths nationwide are being attributed to the winter storms. Heavy snow and ice have caused crashes on highways. Other people have been forced to abandon their cars. In some places, repeated snowfall has people feeling like they're fighting a losing battle to get it all cleared.
Over the last 7 days, how many times have you had to do this to the car?
Oh, man, probably 6.
You've been out here 6 times in the last week.
Yeah, in the last couple of days, actually.
Data from FlightAware shows more than 3,700 flights across the U.S. were canceled Monday. That's more than in any other day over the past year. 6 people, including 3 kids, are hurt after a wrong-way crash. This happened just before 7 last night in Johnston County on I-95. This was what it looked like when the WRAL Breaking News Tracker got there. The wrong-way driver in a white pickup collided with a black pickup truck headed south. A witness tells us she helped the family after the crash.
I saw there were 3 kids on the side of the highway just about where I'm standing right now. And being a mom myself of a little boy, I just wanted to be able to help as much as I can.
Charges are pending for the wrong-way driver, and we're working to learn that person's identity.
Today, Wake County school leaders will discuss making March 5th a no-school day for the district. That is the day the primary elections and many schools serve as polling places. No vote is expected on this today. Wake County began canceling schools for election days and did it for the general election in 2022. A vote on the proposal is expected next month.
In Monday's first game, a little snow did not keep the Buffalo Bills and their fans from having a good time. Quarterback Josh Allen threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for another one as the Bills took down the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17. The Bills will host another home game in the next round of the playoffs. The Kansas City Chiefs will come to town for a game Sunday night.
Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are moving on in the playoffs. They crushed the Philadelphia Eagles last night in the final game of the wild card round. 32-9 was the final. It is the end of a disappointing season for the Eagles. They lost their last 5 games of the regular season and then lost in round 1 of the playoffs. The Buccaneers will play the Detroit Lions next week in the NFC divisional round. That game between the Buccaneers and Lions will air at 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon on WRAL. Before that, on Saturday night at 8, the Packers and 49ers will play in the other NFC divisional round game on Fox 50.
As we watch the war in Israel unfold from home, some people from the Triangle are out helping in ways you wouldn't think about. We'll tell you about how one volunteer helps by picking fruit and his connection to WRAL.
Let's take a look at this huge tree. It fell down at Golden Gate Park in California. We'll explain the big problem this created as that tree crushed 5 cars.
And this is a live look at Goldsboro this morning. The coldest weather of the season is headed our way. We'll tell you when this week will be the coldest.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
444, we take a live look at dual Doppler 5000 radar and see a little pink showing up well to our north and west. We have a little bit of light patchy rain that's going to be working in this morning, and it will be heaviest around lunchtime, early afternoon, but temperatures are going to be too warm for this to be anything frozen, except maybe briefly this morning in parts of Roxborough, Person County. We'll take a look here, zoom in. You can see mainly that's up into Virginia. It's very, very light, but we'll be watching. Don't be surprised if there's maybe a few sleet pellets that fall or a little bit of light freezing rain. We take a look at our temperatures town by town. It's 36 in Lewisburg, 37 Southern Pines. For most of us, it's going to be way too warm for that. But up around Roxborough or South Hill, it's going to be closer to 32. It's going to be a chilly start this morning if you're headed out for exercise.
As the war in Israel rages on, there are people making their way to the country to help people in need. And one of those people is former WRAL TV General Manager Steve Hamill. Hamill tells us he was compelled to travel from his home in Cary to Israel to help. He is there on a Jewish mission group, picking clementines along with other volunteers. They're helping to fill the void left by thousands of workers from Thailand who left after the war started.
There is a need to be picking fruit, because if you're not doing that, the fruit trees go away. Will not bear fruit, not just this year, but in the years to come.
Hamill also had the chance to tour a medical center where more than 700 people needed treatment after the Hamas attack on October 7th. Over the next few days, the volunteers will pack some buses with essential supplies, including food.
Take a look at this helicopter video out of the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. The NBC affiliate there says 2 people were hurt after a large tree fell on top of 5 cars. 11 people were rescued from those cars, and everyone is going to be okay. It did create big traffic delays as that road was closed for hours.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. In the Triangle, thousands of people are shining that light Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of in one of his most famous quotes. Hundreds of people turned out for the Martin Luther King Memorial March in downtown Raleigh Monday. We spoke with some of them about how King's dream for peace and equality for all continues decades after his death.
It's a great feeling because we're able to do it again. We're able to come together and do it again. You know, enjoy people, enjoy getting together for the cause.
Dr. King's message and his vision is something that resonates with everyone. He wasn't just fighting for Black people, he was fighting for the rights of all people.
This was the 44th year for the march in Raleigh. Dozens of civic groups and religious organizations were among the people who gathered to honor King's legacy.
And the kids are back in school after the long holiday weekend, and it's going to be a cold week at the bus stop. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with this weather trend.
Yeah, wind chill is going to be a big deal for us during this week. I'll show you which days we'll feel the coldest. And the weekend also looks really cold. So we're getting into a cold snap here. Not a lot of precipitation that matches up with that. So we're not looking at much frozen precipitation. But this morning, we're watching temperatures sitting right around freezing around Roxborough and up into Mecklenburg County, Virginia. So there is a little bit of light precipitation there. This is not going to cause any problems, no power outages, no traffic issues, but there could be just a little light glazing. I really feel like for the most part, it's going to just miss us to the north. But even if you're traveling north of the viewing area, you'd have to get pretty far north for this to be a big issue. Even in the foothills, we're looking at rain, but there is some wintry precipitation still happening in the mountains. I saw several inches yesterday, but again, we're not likely to see anything that's going to be a major impact. We'll pause it at 8 o'clock, and you can again see the purple really just stays to our north. We're looking at some light showers during the morning commute, just a little sprinkle on your windshield. But once we get closer to lunchtime, we'll likely have some showers that roll through. So keep that in mind. It's going to be chilly with temperatures in the 40s with rain. I mean, that's going to be just uncomfortable. It doesn't stick with us through the evening commute, though. By the time we get to 4 or 5 o'clock, it slides on out. We may actually see a little bit of sunshine before sunset. And then it's all going to be about the temperatures. Speaking of temperatures, there's a live look at Memorial Auditorium, where downtown Raleigh's checking in at 38 under cloudy skies. Our temperatures will be climbing into the 40s about the time the rain begins in the Triangle. Around town, I'm looking at 48 this afternoon in Raleigh, 44 in Durham, and 53 in Fayetteville. Checking the cold temperatures, though, for today, we're not too far from normal, but look at the purple areas. That's where temperatures are way below normal. We see that pushing into our area for Wednesday into Thursday, and then another round. Watch this up here toward Canada. Another round of the purple slides through and sits over us this weekend. May even be colder over the weekend than it will be this week. 32 is our normal low. Tomorrow morning 19, through Thursday morning 23. We're at freezing on Friday morning, but look at that, 20 Saturday morning and 17 Sunday morning. So the cold air is coming, and a wind chill to go along with it, especially as we get into late Tuesday and early Thursday. Tuesday night, we're looking at 7 for the wind chill, looking at teens around the Triangle area. Same thing early Wednesday morning. So just keep that in mind with some very cold wind chills that are coming our way, especially for Wednesday morning. So let's take a look at, again, those temperatures. Tomorrow, sunshine, 41. We'll see some more showers on Friday, but it stays above freezing while the precipitation is with us. And we're looking at highs in the 30s this weekend with sunshine.
Brr. Wow. Elizabeth, thank you. Coming up, a volcano in Iceland continues to erupt. It's forcing thousands of people to leave their homes. We'll take a closer look at this new video of it erupting for the second time in less than a month.
Plus, you may have seen this clip of a house divided in Texas. The mom of these 2 boys explains how one of them ended up being the only Cowboys fan in the house.
75th Annual Emmy Awards was a night of nostalgia, and the night got started with stars walking down the silver carpet. Ashley Dvorkin caught up with some of those stars from the small screen.
TV's biggest night got the party started with the stars of the small screen strutting their Emmys fashions on the silver carpet.
It takes a village to look like this, and so yeah, where everybody comes over, the setup, the dress, the pictures, it's a whole day thing.
Between like the awards last weekend and this weekend, which is nice, it's all condensed into like an 8-day span. You get to do all these things, but in between, there's all this prep.
This ceremony celebrated its special 75th anniversary, and several celebs reflected on their favorite TV shows.
Game of Thrones, I watch beginning to end, and the week like leading up to Christmas and in between Christmas and New Year's every year. I could see The Wire on repeat.
The Wire. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, wow, what is this? And it's still one of my favorites to this day.
The night was also a celebratory reunion for many whose shows had their final season.
That's one of the great pluses of doing this. And it's nice to see everybody.
I'm thrilled to get to see my cast. It's awesome to see them. It adds a little extra bittersweetness to it for it to be the last hurrah with them. But luckily, I have all their phone numbers, and I continue to bother them.
We're in touch all the time, and at this point, I would consider them great friends, both of them.
Big night for the stars. Well, new video out of Iceland shows a volcano there erupting for a second day. The volcano first erupted in December, then began spewing lava again on Sunday. Houses were on fire in the tiny fishing village of Grindavik. The volcano continued to erupt yesterday, but it was a lot less active. So far, no one has been hurt or injured from the eruptions. The people living in Grindavik were ordered to evacuate.
A study from Duke Health found a link between drug use during pregnancy and certain childhood cancers. Duke Health surveyed parents of children who were diagnosed with cancer before their 18th birthday. They were asked to remember whether moms used tobacco, alcohol, or illicit drugs during their pregnancy. 14% reported gestational use of tobacco, 4% reported illicit drug use, and 2% reported drinking more than a moderate amount. Illicit drug use was associated with nervous system tumors, specifically certain brain and eye cancers.
You may have seen this video going viral on social media or during the broadcast of the Packers-Cowboys game. A clear division in that family. The young Cowboys fan, obviously upset, couldn't even look as his brother in the Packers jersey is just shouting with joy. As the mom explains, the family is from Wisconsin and moved to Texas at a very impressionable age for her older son. And his new friends in Texas like the Cowboys, so that's the team he began to root for.
We warned him that there might be some tears and some letdown not being a Packer fan. And now he knows to listen to his mama a little bit more.
No, he
had to use his allowance for his Cowboys jersey. We are not paying for that.
Mama drawing the line there. No, you buy it with your own money. The Packers, as you know, went on to win that game 48-32.
I mean, that is the truth in getting the last laugh right there because, the little Cowboys fan had a lot to cheer about all throughout the season, but last one standing, Packers.
Yeah, learning about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat at such a tender age.
Cute stuff, though.
I'm Brett Neese live at RDU this morning with how winter weather across the country might affect your flight out this morning.
Plus, a man arrested in connection with a shooting death of 2 women and a dog is expected in court today. What we know about that shooting and how the town's leaders are responding.
And the Iowa caucuses are over and the results are in. The new pressure DeSantis and Haley face after Trump takes the first win of the 2024 presidential race.